Before memory, before language, there was only silence. The universe floated in endless dark, still, cold, and waiting. Then, from that endless void, a whisper stirred. It was Noctar, the Spirit of Shadows, the first being, born from stillness itself. He wandered alone through the abyss, shaping clouds of nothing into gentle night, but even darkness grew lonely. And so, from the heart of emptiness, a single spark appeared. A flame so bright that even the shadows bowed before it. She was Solara, the goddess of the sun, radiant, untouchable, her laughter like the birth of stars. When Noctar saw her, he hid within the folds of space, for her light burned his edges. But Solara's gaze found him, and for the first time, light looked upon darkness without fear.
"Who are you?" she asked, her voice like morning.
"I am the silence that listens," he answered softly.
Their eyes met, flame and shadow, and in that instant, the world began to move. The heat of her love touched the cool of his calm, and where they met, a horizon appeared. Dawn, the bridge between night and day, they danced upon it, creating mountains, rivers, skies, and seas. From their love, time itself began to breathe. But the universe was not kind to such love. For the balance of light and dark was fragile, too much of one, and the other would fade. And so, the celestial laws were written.
The sun shall rise when the shadows rest, and the shadows shall walk when the sun sleeps. They may meet only twice each day, at dawn and dusk.
Thus began the eternal longing, two souls forever chasing one another across the edge of the sky. Every dawn, Solara's hand brushed against Noctar's for a fleeting moment. Every dusk he whispered her name before sinking back into the void, and though the heavens burned with their love, the distance between them grew like a wound that would never heal. Then came the day Solara could bear it no longer. Standing at the peak of her golden throne, she looked upon the dark horizon and whispered,
"If I cannot touch you, then let my heart fall to the world below, so that something of me might live where you cannot."
And she wept. One tear fell from her blazing eye, a drop of pure sunlight, and when it struck the cold earth, it ignited into flame. That was the first fire, the tear of the sun, and from its warmth, the first humans were born.
They looked to the sky, felt the heat upon their skin, and called her mother Solara.
But far beyond their prayers, in the abyss where shadows moved, Noctar watched, and for the first time, he felt fear. For he knew, where there is fire, there will be hunger, and where there is light, darkness will always seek balance. The war of eternity had just begun. Deep beneath the stars, where even light dared not wander, Noctar sat upon his throne of silence. The endless night around him shivered with unease. His heart, once calm as still water, now thundered with storm and sorrow. He had watched Solara's tear fall, a single drop that birthed flame, warmth, and humanity. The earth below shimmered with the pulse of life. But to Noctar it was not creation, it was corruption.
"She has broken the balance," he whispered, his voice echoing through the hollow dark. "Her light has touched what was never meant to burn."
They were the Umbrals, the children of shadow.
"Go to the mortal world, seek the tear of the sun. The flame that burns must be returned tonight, for only in silence can peace remain."
But not all shadows served blindly. Among them was one who hesitated, a young umbral named Lyra, born not from hatred, but from curiosity. He had watched humans dance around Solara's fire. He had seen them laugh, sing, and hold one another beneath the light, and something stirred within him. Something that felt like envy, or perhaps wonder.
"Father," Lyra dared to ask, "why must the light die if it brings life?" Noctar turned to him, his gaze sharp as a blade. "Because all light burns, my son. It promises warmth, but leaves ashes."
Still, Lyra could not forget what he'd seen, a small girl by a fire, offering warmth to a wounded bird, a mother's face glowing in candlelight. For the first time, a shadow questioned its purpose, and somewhere high above, Solara felt it, a flicker of defiance in the dark. A single shadow touched by compassion. She smiled. The beginning of change had come, and with it, destiny stirred.
Until the tear is mine again, I will not rest. I will walk through the ages unseen until the world remembers that darkness was its first home. And as his voice echoed across the heavens, the moon turned its face away, for even it feared what was coming.
That night, Noctar made his vow to the stars. Years passed like breaths between dawn and dusk. The world flourished under Solara's light, even as shadows whispered in its corners. But neither goddess nor spirit had forgotten the prophecy. A child born when the sun and shadow kiss shall decide the fate of both worlds. And then, it happened. The skies grew strange one morning. Birds fell silent. The air trembled. Above the golden plains of Lyra, the sun dimmed, slowly swallowed by a creeping veil of darkness. Villagers gasped as the day turned black, a ring of fire burning in the heavens like a god's eye. In a small hut at the edge of the valley, a woman cried out, her hands clutching the earth, her heart racing in terror and awe. Lightning split the sky, and with that thunderous cry, a child was born.
The midwife fell to her knees, whispering, "By the heavens, her eyes."
The baby's eyes glowed, one gold like sunlight, the other deep silver like the moon. She was named Lyra, after the ancient word for balance. That night when the eclipse faded, Solara's warmth returned. But far beyond the horizon, in the kingdom of shadows, Noctar felt it. The child of the eclipse walks the earth. He sent whispers through his umbrals, commanding them to find her. But Lyra, the youngest of his kind, heard the order and hesitated. He remembered the little girl who fed the wounded bird, and somehow, he knew this child was the same soul, reborn. The bridge between warmth and silence. He descended to the mortal realm, hidden by night, and found Lyra asleep in her cradle. A faint glow danced above her, Solara's blessing, while a soft shadow rested beside her, Noctar's mark.
Light and dark both claim you. What will you become, little one?
As he watched, Lyra's tiny hand reached out, and for a moment, her fingers brushed the edge of his shadow. The dark rippled, not with fear, but with calm. The umbral bowed his head. He knew the world had changed forever. From that night on, the village of Lyra was never the same. Strange things began to happen. Fires burned without fuel, night flowers bloomed at dawn, and when Lyra laughed, both the sun and the stars seemed to shimmer brighter.
The elders whispered that she was a blessing.
The priests called her a curse.
But the truth was far greater. She was destiny made flesh, and somewhere in the sky, Solara watched her daughter's soul take shape, while Noctar waited in the shadows, torn between duty and love. The world had entered its age of prophecy, and every god, every mortal, would soon be tested by what the child of Eclipse would choose. Years passed like rivers through stone. Lyra grew, tall, curious, and untamed as sunlight through forest leaves. She was no ordinary child. When she smiled, dawn seemed to come early. When she cried, night deepened as if mourning with her. Her village adored her but feared her too.
Born under an eclipse, they whispered, half blessed, half cursed.
Some offered her flowers, others crossed themselves in silence. But Lyra was neither curse nor blessing. She was curious. Every night she would sneak from her home and climb the cliffs beyond Lyra, staring into the endless dark sky. She felt it calling her, the same way light calls the morning. One night, as the moon hung pale and thin, she saw movement among the shadows, a shape, tall, silent, and strange, watching her from the edge of the trees.
I know you. You're the one who visits my dreams.
The shadow stepped closer, and moonlight revealed a face both human and not.
I am Lyra, a messenger of Noctar.
The god of shadows. Should I fear you?
Perhaps, but not tonight.
He knelt before her, not as a hunter, but as a guardian. For years he had watched her grow, torn between his father's command and his own awakening heart. Every time she laughed, the darkness within him trembled, not in anger, but in awe.
Why do you watch me?
Because the world will one day beg you to choose, light or dark.
And which should I choose?
Neither, or both, because you are what we never could be, the bridge.
The wind whispered around them, carrying Solara's warmth and Noctar's chill. For a moment, the two currents met, swirling into stillness. Lyra looked at her, and for the first time in eternity, a shadow felt alive. But above them, unseen, the heavens stirred. Solara's golden eyes watched from beyond the clouds. Noctar's gaze followed from the abyss below. Both gods felt the thread between their children tighten.
They cannot.
They must not.
For if light and shadow truly united, if love bloomed between them, the balance of existence itself would shatter. Yet destiny cared little for divine warnings, because on that night, as dawn approached, Lyra reached out her hand. Lyra hesitated, but only for a moment. Their fingers touched, and where their hands met, the world seemed to hold its breath. Half the sky glowed gold, half shimmered silver, a fleeting glimpse of harmony, but harmony is fragile. The next morning, the sun rose late, and the night refused to fade. Priests called it an omen. The shadows deepened, and in the kingdom of the gods, Solara and Noctar began preparing for the inevitable. The war for the soul of their child. The world woke to confusion. For the first time since creation, the sun and night refused to yield. Half the sky blazed with light, the other drowned in darkness, locked in eternal twilight. Crops wilted, rivers boiled and froze at once, animals lost their way, and the hearts of mortals trembled beneath the weight of unseen power. High above, in her radiant citadel, Solara rose from her throne of flame. Her golden hair blazed like burning banners as she gazed down at the trembling world.
He has gone too far. Noctar's shadows reach too close to my light.
But deep below, in the hollow halls of eternity, Noctar watched her fury. He stood among his umbrals, calm but cold, his voice like distant thunder.
It was not I who broke the balance. Your tear created hunger. Your fire taught mortals to burn.
They had argued before, for centuries, but this time, something was different. Their child, Lyra, now lived as proof of both their love and their defiance. Neither god could destroy her without destroying a piece of themselves. Still, pride is the poison of immortals. And so, they called forth their armies. From Solara's light came the Lunaris Guard, soldiers of flame and gold. From Noctar's depths rose the Umbral Legion, warriors of mist and sorrow. Both divine hosts gathered at the horizon. Verdi dal Sior. Where dawn was born. When they met, the heavens cracked. Fire clashed with shadow and the air screamed. Stars fell like tears, oceans boiled, and mountains turned to ash. At the center of it all stood Lyra, caught between her parents' rage. She could feel their power tearing through her veins. Light and dark, warring inside her chest like two beasts. Lyra found her amidst the chaos. His form flickered, wounded by the sun's fire, yet he still reached for her.
You must stop them. They will destroy everything, even you.
Lyra shook her head, tears blazing like molten gold.
I can't stop gods.
You're more than their creation, Lyra whispered, gripping her hands. You are their bridge. You were born to end what they began.
She looked up at the sky, Solara's flames consuming the clouds, Noctar's darkness swallowing the stars. Their power crashed against one another, endless and merciless.
If neither will yield, Lyra whispered, then I must.
She closed her eyes. The light in her left eye burned brighter, the shadow in her right deepened. Her heartbeat echoed like thunder. Then, she stepped forward. Lyra raised her arms toward the heavens, her voice ringing through creation.
Mother of fire, father of night, I am born of you both, and I refuse your war.
Her light exploded outward, blinding gods and mortals alike. For a single heartbeat, the world became still. Then, slowly, the fire dimmed and the shadows retreated. Solara's rage faltered, Noctar's silence broke. Where Lyra stood, a ring of gold and silver light spun. Half day, half night. And the war ended without a victor. But peace always comes at a price. Lyra's power burned through her mortal form. Lyra caught her as she fell, her body fading like morning mist.
Don't cry, she whispered. I'm not ending, only changing.
And with her final breath, she became the horizon itself, the line between day and night, light and dark, fire and shadow. Every dawn and dusk, she is reborn, the eternal balance of love and destiny. Above the world, Solara wept golden tears. Below, Noctar bowed his head in silence. For though they had lost their child, they had gained something far greater, harmony. And so, whenever dawn and dusk meet in gentle embrace, the gods remember their daughter, and mortals whisper her name.
Lyra, the flame in the shadow.
1,000 years passed since the War of Dawn. Time, ever faithful, washed away the scars of battle, but not the memory. The gods no longer spoke to mortals as they once did. Solara, the radiant mother, rose each day in silence, her warmth softer, gentler than before. Noctar, the father of shadows, cloaked the nights in peace instead of fear. Both now moved with reverence, for between them glowed the memory of the child who saved them from themselves. And every morning, when the horizon shimmered gold and silver, they touched, not in war, but in love. Among mortals, the world began anew, the land healed, crops grew, and the seas calmed. Yet even in peace the story of Lyra endured, passed from firelight to firelight, from elder to child, as a sacred truth. Temples rose along the edge of Ilaria, where the first eclipse was said to have blessed the world. At dawn and dusk, the priests would kneel facing opposite directions, one toward the sun, one toward the shadow, and together they would whisper her name.
Lyra, bringer of balance, keeper of both hearts.
Over generations, her image changed. Some saw her as a goddess, others as a bridge between gods and men. But all agreed on one truth: she was the proof that light and dark were never enemies, only halves of the same whole. One morning, a young wanderer named Kyle reached the ruins of Lyra's temple. He had heard the stories his whole life, but he wanted to see the place where the sky once fought itself. The temple stood open to the horizon. Half of it gleamed with sunlit marble. The other half lay cloaked in shadowed stone. At its center, a single slab bore an inscription no scholar could read. Kale knelt and traced the letters with his hand. As the first rays of dawn touched the stone, the ancient words glowed softly. Not with fire, not with darkness, but with both. He read them aloud.
To love is not to conquer light or dark, but to walk between them, as Lyra did, and as we must.
And when he looked up, the horizon blazed, half gold, half silver. A warm wind brushed his face, carrying both heat and chill, and in that sacred stillness, he understood. Lyra was not gone. She lived in every dawn, every dusk, every heartbeat that held both sorrow and hope. The world moved forward. Empires rose and fell, faiths changed and blended, but one ritual never vanished. Each day, at sunrise and sunset, people paused, just for a breath, to honor the light meeting the dark. Some prayed, some simply watched, and though few remembered her name, the sky remembered. When the horizon glows red and gold, when night and day kiss in silence, that is Lyra's eternal dance, the promise that balance will always return. And so ends the myth of the Tear of the Sun. A tale not of victory, but of understanding. Because even gods learned that love does not burn or fade, it transforms. And every dawn, when Solara and Noctar meet once more, they whisper the same words to the child who became the world's horizon.
Thank you for teaching eternity how to love.